uh, this is like such a thrill to have you
Thank you.
here on this as I kick off this little podcast. It's called the ManifeStars. Um, and Dr. Divi is just an unbelievable human being. First of all, she is, and I'm going to read it right here, mind, body, spirit practitioner, which I still like. I mean, that just does not really scratch the surface of what you do. But I guess in essence it does because it's everything, but there's so much more that you do. Life coach and healer, a TED talker. You're also a guest on global TV frequently. You are in demand all over the place. You're the author of You Don't Look Psychic, which is an awesome book that I've now purchased 4 times. This is my fourth one, and I'm keeping this one because it's like it was like a little Bible. And you are a life fixer. Um, and I say that from personal experience because you really helped me in my journey when whatever 5 years ago I was going through or longer, 6 years ago, a very difficult time, and I was recommended you. And the thing about it was like I did not know exactly what to expect. Although my friend who recommended you did say she's kind of woo-woo. So I
I love that.
I knew there was a little something going on there. But it was immediately upon us getting on the phone together when you knew information about me that nobody knew. Like I barely knew. And you were getting the information from my guides who were talking to your guides and giving you information. And it blew my mind. It still
Crazy,
blows my mind.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Your journey is incredible. And that's what I want to get to first before we do anything else, because you're such a giver. You give to everybody else, but you're not the kind of person who likes the spotlight shone on you. You really shy away from the sort of I think love that people want to give to you because of what you have been so gifted with. But could you tell us about your story and how it started? Like, first of all, you were a medical doctor.
So thank you for that introduction. Like that's beyond sweet. So just dive in to
Yeah, do it.
yeah,
Like, I want everything. And I'm going to just like also remind you of things if you forget to tell us.
sure, okay. So I used to be a physician. Graduated very young. I come from an immigrant family, first generation immigrant family. So there's four siblings, we're all doctors of some sort. So that should give you an idea. I'm the youngest, so I had the trajectory of stay in my family of origin home, which was pretty restrictive, right? Just immigrant family, didn't want things to change from India. And or the fastest I could get out of the house was to go to medical school. The PhD path was a couple of years longer to get out of the house because my dad is a professor at the university or was. So long story short, got graduated medical school very young when I was 25, was out working. Got very sick when I was 28, 29 with chronic pain. It's in my TEDx talk. Chronic pain, allergies, all kinds of health issues. Got better with yoga and then ran away from a marriage and opened a yoga studio on the island for about 8 years. Went to learn how to teach yoga, open the studio. And even when I was opening the studio, intuitively I knew that I wasn't going to do this forever, but I didn't know. I knew that medicine wasn't my cup of tea in Canada the way it's structured in North America, but I didn't know what it was. I figured if I could have healed my physical pain, allergies, infections, that there was some secret sauce there, which I thought was in the yoga, but I didn't know what the secret sauce was. And I knew intuitively that that's why I was opening this yoga studio, to figure that secret sauce out. So, yeah, so during that time, I got pregnant. My son is now 20, so 21 years ago. And my intuition went right up. And being pretty type A, I went and studied some intuition courses, never thinking I would do it for myself. It was just like, what's going on? And
Okay,
one,
okay, so just like really
yeah.
briefly, so when you say your intuition started kicking in, how did that happen? What was going on? Like what was so different about before?
Yeah. So just to give you a baseline too, like I was teaching a lot of yoga, I was practicing a lot of yoga, and I was meditating a lot. So I had all like that was my life, right?
Yeah.
So I was running our business. That was pretty much my life. So after I was pregnant, or maybe it was during my pregnancy, I think it was after my pregnancy. I would just know things like I would be like, that teacher's going to quit. That thing's going to happen. that's gonna, and there were things that I shouldn't know, like about our students that were coming in. He's going to, and I would say it to my husband, something's going to happen to that person. He'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. I'm just getting these feelings." And it was within about 6 months, when you're breastfeeding and doing all that stuff, I was just noticing it because I was home full time, and I was like noticing all these things, and just noticing these gut feelings that were coming in relatively strongly. I didn't know they were gut feelings, and I didn't know what they were. But I would say them to my husband, and my husband's like, he'd come home from the studio and he'd go, what you said about so and so was right. I'm like, what? And you see enough of these that you're like, okay, that was different.
Yeah. Yes.
So then I went off and studied intuition and found out that I had a knack for it, but I never thought I would do it as a profession. I just wanted to know what was happening to me.
Right.
And then I studied intuition. Then we left the yoga world for lots of different reasons. I came back to Vancouver. I came back to medicine because I didn't know what to do professionally. And then I started the intuition business on the side about a year or two after starting coming back to medicine. And the intuition business started to take off. And I started to teach classes as well. And then sort of left medicine and have been doing this full time.
Right. Um, and I believe so. So while you were still practicing medicine and
Yeah.
you were a GP, right? You
Yeah.
get people coming in, and it was at that time too that you were getting intuitive hits about what was happening with people's health too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of gifts at home from clients or old patients that were like, "Oh, you diagnosed this and no other doctor would have." Like, things, you saved my life, and it was all intuition.
Hmm.
That
And
yeah.
and so then you started like, because that's how you and I met. You were doing at that time private consultations and
Right.
counseling of individuals, and now you don't really do that so much anymore because your practice is, I mean, you're teaching,
Right.
predominantly teaching. um and what was the move, like, why did you move away from that? Was it just time, or was it more like a passion that you needed to share?
A bit of all of it. When you work one-to-one, which I did for 15 years,
Which I loved, by the way. I
thank
loved
you.
it. It was so good.
You only see one person an hour. But if somebody else, like if there was a Martian watching me all day, every day, it's like I'm repeating the same concepts, right? There's a lot
Right.
of teaching in my intuition and coaching. So then at a certain point, I had a 2-year wait list to see me. So it was just not sustainable,
Right.
right? And so then I started teaching more about 2 years ago. I've been teaching for a long time, but really teaching more about 2 or 3 years ago.
Hmm.
And I'm finding that that's where my passion is because I find I'm a better teacher than I am an intuitive, which might sound weird,
I think
but
that's crazy. How could that be? I mean, you're a great teacher, but I can't
oh,
believe it because you're so intuitive. It's amazing.
but I weave my intuition into my teaching. And I think
Right.
that's what the je ne sais quoi is. And so the teaching is, application of a lot of the spiritual texts that a lot of us have heard about, but a lot of people have difficulty taking that information and applying it to their lives. And that's where I use intuition. I use intuition all the time anyways, but when I'm
Hmm.
teaching, I combine the two. So it was lots of reasons. One is wanting to help more people. Second was a bit more passionate for me. The third is the Martian who's watched me do the same thing all day, every day, kept saying to me, you're saying the same thing over and over. I'm like, I know. So, yeah.
So it's really for convenience, like
Mm,
just getting the message to more people,
totally.
and having people help you share the message too.
Exactly. Yeah.
In your time, like, let's go back 20 years because that's approximately how long ago it was. Um, uh, have you noticed an increase? Like, I mean, I think there's been an increase. What I'm trying to get at is, what have you noticed in terms of people accepting their own intuitive gifts?
It's interesting because part of my business, I teach intuition, though I'm slowing that part of my business down a bit. Um, People like when I did my training 15, 16 years ago, it was like social media wasn't like it is now.
Right.
More people's they call them clairs, like the way our channels open. More people are aware of their clairs, and more people's clairs are popping without going to an intuition course.
Hmm.
Before it was you had to go to an intuition course, not everybody, but that was traditionally how your clairs would pop, would be going to a course. I teach intuition still, and right now I do at least. And people come in more ready. Their clairs are already popping. They're already more open.
Hmm.
So back when I trained, there were less and less intuitives out there in the world. They existed, but there were less and less. So yeah, I don't know if that, yeah.
No, it does answer everything. It's very interesting. Like, I wonder why. I wonder if it's just like energetic and people being more open to it, or if there is something else that's actually happening that is opening up more people's ability to acknowledge their clairs, whatever ones they might be. I
I
wonder.
think from a metaphysical, energetic, spiritual standpoint, I think the rate of autism is something like 1 in 12, 1 in 8 is pretty high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've even heard in the next 20 years it's going to be 1 in 3. Like,
Right.
that's what the projections are. Children with autism are incredibly sensitive. And I believe that the sensitivity, whether, whether you have, like, autism is a form of high sensitive energy.
Hmm.
And people with wide open clairs are highly sensitive. But the way I always see it from my guides is we're not meant to drive in cars and chase things anymore. We're meant to listen to our connection with the divine. We're meant to listen to the universe. Like, there's a massive wave of spirituality that's going on. Massive. I mean, we've both been in this world for God knows how many years. It's so much bigger than it used to be. But I
Absolutely.
think it's all because of we're supposed to, like, get out of the car, we're driving and fixing and making money and running. We have so much wealth, but we don't know how to live.
Hmm.
We don't know how to be happy. We don't know how to be joyful. We don't know, those are the questions that are being asked with more sensitives coming in.
Um, that just opens up so many questions. And I still want to go back to the fact that, with so many people still just awakening because they're not the little babies who, or the smaller children, or the even, the adolescents who are autistic, but say people of our generation who are opening up. I'm older than you. My generation and beyond, opening up their clairs for the first time. And it's like, what is going on? Like, this is so incredible. And you are now saying that you're even moving away from the teaching of the intuition because you've moved on to something even more divine for you. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
What is it? Tell us
A lot of
more.
my teaching is with the Divine Mother now.
Right.
So a lot of my work is us connecting with her and thereby healing our stories, whether we in a female body or a male body, that are disconnecting us from the Divine Mother. So all the stories about I need to find a man, or else something's wrong with me, or I'm not beautiful, or all are disconnected from the Divine Mother. I can't make money. The Divine Mother's job, not yours. And so many of our stories can be healed once we connect with her. So that's kind of my
That's
truth.
your because like you are definitely good at following the path that guidance is presenting to you. And and how did the Divine Mother find you? How did you find her? How did you find each other?
So about 2 years ago, I was in Sedona teaching an intuition retreat. And what I thought was my last one was my old business partner who I co-wrote the book with. And we are in a sound healing journey or something. And I was already wide open. I'm in Sedona. I'm teaching an event. And then during this event, and me and my old business partner, our business friendship and relationship was ending with the intuition part. We were teaching an intuition course. We decided to end it. Great. It was just time for both of us. And then I had in my mind a business plan moving forward for what I was going to do after that business partnership ended 2 years ago. And I was in the sound healing and I was in it. And then during it, the Divine Mother stood right in front of me and she said, "Do you know who I am?" I'm like, "No." She said, "I'm the Divine Mother." I'm like, "Okay, cool. You're meant to teach my work." And I was like, "And you're not meant to teach intuition." I was like, and then when the business partnership ended, I have taught a bit of intuition for the last 2 years. Not that I'm not listening, but I'm overlapping the Divine Mother's work with letting go of the intuition work. Does that make sense? And I'm
Yes.
training people on how to teach the intuition so it's not on me anymore. And now working with the Divine Mother, like that's my main work now. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. So that's huge. It's a lot, hey?
yeah, it's
Like
fun.
did it seem I mean, did you question it? Did you question the Divine Mother and say, lady, really, thanks for coming, but I'm really good at this. I'm really good at
I've had too many career changes to question, I think is what I'd say to you. Um, I don't think I don't do psychedelics. I don't do mushroom. It's not I'm not against them. I just haven't done them. And so it's not the most common things for something like that to occur with that degree of intensity.
hmm
So I listened. I guess would be
Right.
my answer. And I told her I was going to overlap, and that's what I've always done with my business. I overlap too to build another one. I might go with another one. So yeah, so I listened.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so what are the messages that the Divine Mother has for us? Like when you pretty much outlined everything that people think is wrong with their lives, or just like, for each of us. And it's the Divine Mother that we should be going to get our help in healing.
So the Divine Mother represents the biggest thing she represents is the pure sinlessness of who we are, the unconditional love. And if we actually saw ourselves as sinless, how would we walk around the world? We walked around with absolutely no guilt, no remorse, no thoughts of I'm doing something wrong. How would we show up? And then she can step in and help manifest and help move energy along and help. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so a lot of her work is about healing the garbage stories that women and men have. But I can speak a lot more to the female population because I'm female. But like, all those stories of I don't weigh the right amount, or I do this, I'm doing that wrong. And why didn't I get that boyfriend? Why did he leave me? Like all those garbage stories. Why am I married? I mean, you and I are both women.
Hmm.
And I am blown away as to how much time and energy those thoughts take up. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I was,
she also just said to me, as we connect with her, we will heal Mother Earth as well. Right. So yeah, recycle great. Yeah, compost great. But really we have to heal our wounds and stories that are going into Earth and hurting her.
wow. I never even thought of it that way. I mean, I'm super conscious of the energy that I give to the earth, and swim in the ocean every day. I ho'oponopono in the ocean every day, and also when I'm walking around, just feeling like because I have guilt about everything that's been done to the planet, and I feel it, but I don't think then that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing if I'm still carrying the guilt, if that is the basis of why I'm, you know, giving the Ho'opono prayer to the earth every single day. It's allowing maybe the Divine Mother to help me know that I don't need that guilt anymore. That's not going to help her.
So I'll say a few things. Guilt is the ego's construct. The ego is the part of us that was formed when we separated from our creator. And the ego loves the body and it loves guilt and it loves the past and future. So you can see how much of the mind runs on guilt. And guilt is a lie in the divine order of things. So heaven and hell are not places external, but they're places internal. So I can live a life of heaven if I connect more with the thoughts of the creator of the divine. But when I have thoughts of guilt, I am literally pouring, I keep seeing a picture of like hot sauce on, which I love, but hot sauce or paprika or something icky, or, in my eyes and in my blood and in my energy.
Hmm.
Because I'm not this body and you're not that body.
No.
Who we are is the I am, the place before those thoughts, the essence of the I. That's who we are.
That feels better. Yeah, it feels a lot better. And really, when I think about it, I really haven't done that much to hurt the planet. I mean, except for live in the constructs that have been put here by other people. And to think that it is funny when I really just break it down, because yeah, I'm gonna work on that. That is gonna take a second, though. Thanks. Thanks for that. Um, Hold on, I am taking a second here because that's a big one. When we look at the world today, and it's really difficult to not see all of the pain and anguish that is happening, and also to see the rage that's fully being farmed. I mean, rage gets ratings and rage makes money. How can we use the teachings or the energy of the Divine Mother to uh, stay whole and not to allow it to affect us?
It takes a bit of work. It's a lot of what I teach people. It's a practice of the mind to think that I'm not this body. It's a practice to think I am an essence or an energy that is not limited to this body. But if I think I'm in this body, then the anger comes up. So one of the things you know is the ego, because one of the deepest layers of the ego underneath guilt is self attack, self anger. And all attack, whether it be at my husband or at you or the girlfriend or the earth, is self attack. But I'm attacking something that's not even real, meaning this body, which we all know where it's not real. It's a really deep concept. It takes like digging into the mind, but it's truly to understand that all, and if I go really deep for some of the listeners that are open to it, the only reason I'm angry, which is then creating the attack, is because I forgot that my true essence is love. My true essence is forgiveness. My true essence is the I am. So this life that I'm here on the planet, all I can leave with is my spiritual development. I can't leave with my car. I can't leave with my kid. So I might as well put some time into my spiritual development. And if I can get this a little bit, then maybe next time around I don't have to repeat this so much. But it's like, what if I am not this body? I'm not these thoughts. Then what? Then I have to attack. Then there's so much hope. Because there's one more thing they want me to say. The only reason we attack is because we're busy defending the body. If I'm not this body, what am I defending? What am I attacking? I was teaching a class last night, and these women had these aha moments. What would it be like to live life in defenselessness if you weren't defending yourself? And if we all did it, then I could say to somebody, I really don't like your hair. And then they'd say to me, well, I don't really like your smile. I'm like, yes, we don't like each other. It's amazing. Then we can hug and love each other. Because we're
Yeah.
all thinking those thoughts.
Yeah. So now maybe this is a leap, but for, when we're seeing things that look like they are absolutely abhorrent, like they really should not be happening, and we're looking at the perpetrators and saying, bad guy,
Yeah.
should we instead be showing them love?
Everything's either a call for love or an expression of love, right?
Right.
So it's a call for love. And we want to remember that if these people are doing something abhorrent, and the reason I'm seeing as abhorrent is because that's my perception. And if I go really deep, projection creates perception. But we'll leave that alone. I keep hearing leave it alone. But it's like we have to understand that all of those abhorrent things in the world occur because we underneath it we think we're a victim, and so we become abhorrent to heal to get out of the victim energy. No one likes to feel like a victim or powerlessness, and anger feels better than powerlessness. But that's only a quarter way up the scale. If I want to get to joy, I have to go, wow, let me forgive the thought that I can even attack or do something abhorrent. So if I'm looking out there and saying you're doing something wrong, I have to look at me. Where am I doing something wrong? It's like it's always a mirror. And theoretically, you can get to a place where you do be this love and you look at that and go, oh, they're just looking for love. Let me send them love. Like I think of all those young kids, and I think a lot of listeners might have had this experience even for 1 second. You watch these killings on TV. I think there were like 6 or something on the weekend or something in the States, like mass killings. And I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but I have, where I'm like, oh my God, you feel so much for the people in the church or the people at that school that were killed. But then do you ever think about that person who pulled the gun out? What pain they must have been in to do that. And one thing that mass media and no one ever talks about is, can we look at that? If we looked at that and not forgiving the fact that he pulled the gun out, but forgive the thought that caused that and do that as a mass, would we experience less gun violence? And the answer is yes. Right? But that's deeper. I don't know about you, but I've often felt this pang when I watch a 19-year-old going to arrest because he was bullied when he was 5. And as a result of all that bullying, he's pulling a gun out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying what he did was okay. Don't hear it that way. But I'm saying, could we approach this differently?
Right. And I feel like that true. I look at, a lot of the issues that are facing, say, for example, our sisters and brothers to the south who are going through a really tumultuous time. And in every single case where there's so much anger and hatred, it's first of all, a lot of it's indoctrination. A
Sure.
lot of it is misinformation and lack of education. And I mean, like you can see all of the things that have worked together to create this like cyclone of hate and pain. And at the core of it all is that feeling of being victims. Like they really truly feel like they've been victimized, that the world has gone on without them in some way. Like racism is part of that. And I still like, I know this is a work that I have to do and others too, where like I can offer unconditional love. I really can. But when I see those things going on, how is me offering unconditional love from afar helping? Like, how does that help? Or does it help?
Of course, it helps because we have to remember all minds are joined.
Right.
So whatever I'm doing is impacting them, even if it's down to New Orleans or in India. All minds are joined. And that vibration that I can send out is either going to be fear or love. Those are my two choices.
Yeah.
I don't have 10. So if I'm upset, if I'm angry, even I'm feeling bad for them, it's a form of guilt. Or I can send unconditional love of seeing their spirit in their wholeness. What would I want? I want the second one.
So it's like what you were talking about, how with the Divine Mother, it's like that sinless, pure version of you. That's who she sees. That's who we are. And that's how we can work too, is to see that in the other people who are, because we are all one. So if we see that in them as well, then that helps energetically with the healing of all. Yeah. Yes?
That's the miracle. Miracle is a shift in perception from fear to love, right? And that's the miracle. And that's the approach that, in the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins, he talked about. We don't need 100% of people. We don't even need 50% of people doing this. We need a solid fraction of the percentage of population doing this to make a shift.
How can we do it? Like, what do we do? What are the things that we can do, like daily, to help make us be that fraction of a percentage?
I always jokingly always see a picture of us flossing our mind, like we floss our teeth, we floss our mind. We cleanse our thought of hate. We cleanse the thought of judgment. Any fight I'm having with my husband or anyone else is no different than the Gaza war. Any attack is self-attack. So if I want that war to fix, sure, I can march and get upset, and I can forgive all of my thoughts that say I'm a body and can be hurt, and then go and attack somebody else, anyone else. So the more inner peace I found, the more peace I send them. The more inner work I do, it trickles over. But it's the willingness to do that inner work.
Hmm. And it's the work then to really like, almost it's like cleansing it all. Like, just like, yeah, I see it. Yes, it's bombarding us. It's all over the place, but that's not me, because I am, but I'm not
100%.
that. I'm not.
100%.
Yeah.
If I said it differently, I would say something like this. I would say something like, we want to remember that the eyes are always the ego senses. So these eyes will always look at that as pain. I'll always look at it as fear, and have to let that emotion move through my body. I'm not going to bypass that. But then what is the truth here? I'll tell you a quick story. When the Gaza Strip war started, whatever, a year or two ago, I remember watching on TV and like crying my eyes out, just like tears trickling down my face,
Terrible.
watching these kids die. And I heard the Divine Mother say, sit down. I was like, what? I'm going to cry. She said, sit down, close your eyes, and let me show you a picture. So I did. And she said, look at all these babies that you're watching die on TV. Watch them. So I'd watch them die. And then like a second later, she'd be like, look, their souls are now moving into other bodies. Accept this. The quality of life you have right now, do you want to cry and be upset and get angry? Or do you want to have joy and love for them as they embark into their next journey on the planet? We're not making what's going on there right or wrong. But if I want to have an impact on them, I've got to work on my own attack thoughts to anyone in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are me, I am them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. My sister had a very similar vision where she saw them dancing, like dancing together to share another message of love and hope, the little children. And, as we are all energy, and when we are leaving these physical bodies and moving into a different energetic state, um, anything that happened to them, it doesn't matter anyway. Like, it's all over. Like, it just doesn't. So why would we hold on to those things if in the end it won't matter anyway?
Exactly. One thing that I always try to teach people who are in the spiritual world, hopefully somebody will hear this. We want to remember that we do take the ego with us.
Oh,
So whatever is not healed, we have to heal in the next lifetime. We know that.
okay. Okay.
And so
Yeah.
the ego, so I think of like, um, the kids who do a mass shooting and then kill themselves. Well, that ego thought system is going to follow them.
Hmm.
So, they always say, like, an eye for an eye, or turn the other cheek, I should say, that is being taken care of by a much bigger energy. So in the next lifetime, they have to heal whatever caused them to pull the gun out. And those kids who were killed, they have to heal whatever victim stuff they had next lifetime. So it doesn't end. It
Hmm.
doesn't end. It keeps going. And that's why you have multiple kids. That's why they're all different.
They sure are.
Right?
So is there ever a time then when our spirits are ever in the place where they are fine and they don't have to come back? They're going to go somewhere else.
That's a great question. They say, and Buddhism talks about it, different Hinduism talks about it. It's more when we actually start to truly connect with our creator in this lifetime, moment to moment to moment. And then, yeah, theoretically, then you break that cycle. But we don't actually know, and we don't get to decide.
Yeah.
One thing we do get to do is work on our mind. That's what we get to do.
It has been like the most fun I've ever had is to do all of the work that you've ever presented because it
Right.
really I mean, it gives you all the power.
It
You
does.
really do get to choose how your life is going to go.
So good. And if anyone's listening to this and they're like, Tamara, Divi, you've lost your effing marbles. This is really happening.
That's
My
right.
partner did go drink last night, or whatever. I remember something happened to me recently, not a big deal, computer thing. And I went for a walk and I kept saying to myself, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. And it took me like blocks of me saying, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. And so if I'm not a victim of the world I see, is what I kept having to say to myself. And then finally, I got the intuitive nudge as to what to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you're really trapped in it, that's a great way of saying, look, I don't know what to do, spirit. I'm looking for some help. But if you're really stuck in the victim, you can't hear them. So sometimes you have to go for a walk and say, look, I am open. I am open. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm giving this to you. I want to hear from you. And what a lot of people find is they're like, I can't hear them. Is the more you work on the mind, eventually you will hear them. Trust me. But if you're really stuck down the rabbit hole, you can't hear them.
How do we work on the mind?
Learn a ton of processes, which is what I teach. Learn a ton of processes. First thing I would tell people is learn you're not the mind. That's what the book Untethered Soul talked about. You are
Hmm.
not the mind.
Hmm.
In one of my meditations, I teach people to observe themselves, like take a part of their mind, sit on the ceiling and look at yourself. And the people are like, ooh, this is lighter. I remember teaching this to an 18-year-old kid. And I then took him out to Pluto and I took that part of the mind that was on the ceiling, look at himself. He was like, Divi's crazy. Then I said, take that part of the mind, take it to the moon, take it to Jupiter. And then when he came out of it, maybe 3 or 4 minutes later, he goes, I found inner peace. He said, I've never had that. Since I was 6 years old, I've never felt that good. He was an 18
Wow.
year old kid.
And it was just 3 minutes on Pluto.
That
That's
was it.
all it takes.
And then he kind of came back and said, so who am I? And I'm like, you're not this body. You're not your story.
And don't we get to decide who we are? Like honestly, like on a day-to-day basis, who you want
And
to
that's
be.
freedom. That's the freedom.
Hmm.
If you want to be the past, you'll just keep repeating it.
Hmm.
And if you want to be the now, that's where the magic and the miracles lie, is right now, in the joy of right now.
And it seems so simple,
Oh, I know.
but it is. That's the thing about it is, I mean, you can make it as difficult as you want, but if you choose, like, and it is like I have felt, I've known this for years, like decades, that we have the responsibility. And I think I learned it from Stephen Covey in the Seven Habits
Sure.
of Highly Effective People. But, it is our responsibility to choose how we want to be in every second of every day. So we have the ability to choose our response. That's our responsibility. And it was so enlightening to me at that time because then I really realized I'm like, I can take all the time in the world to make a decision about whether I want to be angry about something that happened or happy or I don't care, whatever, I can do that. And because I was reactive before. And I think that that would cause all kinds of other problems because I was. But when you realize that that reactivity is actually just you in the mirror, like that you teach of, which I still and always have like a hard time, like, what, Divi, I did not cause a war in Gaza. What's the mirror there? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's where I have probably the biggest block and I work on it all the time.
Right.
Could you explain for us how that mirror works?
Sure. So everything outside of you is you. So if you've ever been mad at your postal man, if you've ever been mad at the government, there's no difference with that anger than what's happening in the Gaza war because it's all an energy. Okay. But how you can apply this to your life. So if we can leave things like Gaza war and cancer alone for a few minutes, just
Right.
leave the big
The
things
big
alone.
ones,
Because
big
what the
ones.
ego is going to do is it's going to go to things to like, well, prove it. Where it's really helpful if you just apply it to your life. So then you'll start to see it. Okay. So basically, if you're driving in traffic and someone keeps cutting, you keep getting cut off, then I'd ask myself, where am I cutting myself off in my life? Where am I not showing up for myself? Where am I being short with myself? I take it all in, it's a symbol. Everything's a symbol, right? It's symbolic to something you're up to. So rather than taking it literally, make it symbolic, right? So
Gotcha.
let's just like when people come to see me with car accidents, I want to know like everything, like where you cut, were you rear-ended, were you hit from the right with the left? It really sounds very strange as to how incredible spirit is, but every little thing, everything that occurs is explainable all from thought, conscious or unconscious. And when people start to see it, it's mind blowing.
Hmm.
Like, oh my God, that totally made sense. I got hit on the right hand side because I've been too much in my masculine. If you're a right handed person, the right side of your body is masculine. Crazy. This is a wake up.
It's
Change.
so cool. And it's like with the physical ailments as well. Like, I mean, if
100%.
something is hitting you physically frequently, like almost in every situation, it's because there is something that has manifested in you that you're over, like unbalanced.
And what I would say is there's a really important sentence coming in right now. We all understand this concept when it's in January and we want to manifest $1 million. We're like, okay, I have to think about it, I have to feel it, I have to. So we're using that in a positive. We've manifested parking spots, manifested partners.
Totally. Yeah.
This is no different. We manifest every area of your life. We don't want to ever think we manifested the accident or the partner that cheated on us because we want to stay in victim role. And that's where the ego comes in. So we both, you and I have lived through the excitement of the Abraham Hicks work, excitement of law of attraction, excitement of secret. Now you have to flip it and apply it to every area of your life. And that's where power lies. When you're
Nice.
like, I'm not a victim to anything, it's happening for me so I can release something in my energy field so I can have more money, so I can have better sex, so I can have better friendships, so I can be happier, so I can be more joyful. Amazing.
That sounds so fun. All of what you just said, like I love it so much. It's so great. And really, it's just like takes a second for me to just digest it. So that whole idea, the power of manifestation and attraction and all of that, it's and we're so good at, working on it for the positive, but then we forget about that other half, which is like, yeah, we can, eh, you know, turn around our health by changing our thoughts. And I mean, I send love to every cell of my body every single night. I do. Like it's like a thing that I lie down and just like, hey, thanks. Love you. You're doing so well. And it seems to be working. Like so far, so good. But yeah, I feel like there's so much of that to stay away from the negativity because there's just what's the point?
Totally.
Like,
And I don't want to sound like a mean person. I'm not really like I'm not
you're so
anti-pharmaceutical.
mean.
I'm not anti-pharmaceutical. I'm not because I think medications are here
Sure.
to create the bridge so that I can do the inner work. But I mean, we grow up with big pharma. You can't watch American television without it being supported by it, right?
It's
In fact,
crazy.
prior to the podcast today, I was actually reflecting on something. I don't know, it just popped into my mind last night. I was meditating, so nowhere, like on sort of standard television. Not that anyone watches it anymore, but standard television talk about everything from relationships to this to that. But and they dissect them, but no one ever approaches health. How could we approach treating cancer differently? How could like on regular TV because it would upset the big pharma,
Totally.
right? But there's a huge wave of people who are going, can I look at my diet? Can I look at my emotions? Can I look at my mind? Right? But we've been brainwashed into thinking we're victims to our body,
Hmm.
as opposed to understanding that our body is just the in between the ego, thought system, and spirit. If you only thoughts of love, joy, and gratitude, dis-ease could not enter your body. But
Yes.
like you said a minute ago, it sounds easy, and it is. We have to spend time with the 40,000 thoughts a day that don't feel good, so we can shift them, so we can have more gratitude more regularly.
Right. That's so true. And you're saying that we have to spend time with them, the 40,000 negative thoughts that we have a day. That's a lot of thoughts to spend time with. Um, and do we really have that many
We
negative
do.
thoughts?
We do. It's crazy.
Like I can't believe that. I don't I feel like I don't. But anyway, if we don't spend time with them, that's when they grow. That's when they move into places in our body and make us unwell. Correct.
And I mean, you and I have done this work, but
Yes.
and for anyone listening out there, there is a period of phase in this work that you are really diving into your shit.
Yes.
And then the rest of your life, you keep diving into it, but less insanely intensely, where you're like crying all the time. But those, say, few months or typically few years that you're diving into it, it's really worth it.
Oh my gosh, it's so incredible. And it's because I think that I know from the work that I've did, I didn't even know that I didn't even have knowledge of the things that were hurting me from my childhood, my very young childhood. And, had to do the somatic healing to go back there to even unravel the facts that they happened. That's how deeply buried they were. And without the work would still be trapped within me and would still like those pieces of me that were so damaged would have probably caused a lot of damage, you know, to acknowledge them and to, there's so much forgiveness in it too, forgiving the situation, forgiving the people involved, forgiving all of that. That's such a big piece of it.
Forgiving the stories we make up. And I'll
Yeah.
add to that, we make up stories, and we want to remember that we're also influenced by the subconscious and unconscious that our parents didn't heal, that
Mm-hmm.
thereby impacts us. But it's all forgiveness, because I mean, we've both held newborns, and there's something really divine about that moment,
Yeah.
really magical, of the purity of consciousness of love that this newborn infant is carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen if we always saw each other that way?
Yeah.
That's when the planet changes.
That's pretty beautiful when you think of it like that. And to just like I have to admit that when I found like when I did that somatic healing and found that little tiny Tammy, that's what I call her, teeny tiny Tammy, it so changed everything. I look at everybody differently. I do. Like it helped my relationship with Lauren, because I then started seeing him as little teeny tiny Lauren, and what he must have been like. And it's really hard to get mad at an adorable toddler. Like it is really hard. He's like, look how cute you are. But yeah, that's it. Like if you looked at everybody like that, and then and you see them before all of the luggage and baggage and stories got attached to them and in their purest form, that's what you're talking about.
And that's the definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a returning to that place without that story.
I love that. Don't we need a lot more forgiveness in this world?
Too.
We do. It is probably also one of the most fun things. Like even though I had a little guilt attached, I'm going to leave that guilt behind when I go and do my Ho'oponopono in the old. It's gone. Like that guilt gone.
Yay.
Um, but that is like I love that one. Just that one prayer, the Ho'opono prayer. It encompasses everything because it is acknowledgement and it's gratitude and love and forgiveness. It's all tied up there, and it's so beautiful. I love it.
So good. So
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And just for the listeners, if you don't know, the Ho'oponopono is 4 lines. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, and thank you. And you can
Thank,
research it. It's beautiful.
thank
Lots of
you so
YouTubes out
much
there.
for saying that, because I totally forgot. I'm like, everybody knows it. Of course.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Why wouldn't we?
I
Yes,
love that.
I should have said that a long time ago, because it is so, so powerful. And it doesn't matter what order you say those things in. You can say them in whatever order at all. They're so beautiful. I don't want to take too much of your time because I know you're a very busy woman. What time is it? Hold on, I'm looking at, oh, it's not too bad. That's not too bad. I
You're
mean,
so cute.
we did lose each other there for a couple of minutes. Okay, so I like essentially, I did not realize, I mean, I kind of did in our last workshop that I went to see you at, that you had sort of moved away from the teachings of intuition.
Right.
But I still feel like you are the best intuitive coach I
Oh,
know.
thank you.
Honest. I mean, even if you're moving away from it. And I think at this time, to give some of your wisdom in how to achieve more intuitive hits. What would you say to people? Like, just if, say, they're just brand new to
Sure.
intuition and really wanting to get into it, what would you
Right.
say?
Meditate would be the first thing. Slow down your mind. Buy my book.
It's
Slow
so
down your
good.
mind. Buy the book. Know that you're surrounded by energies of love, and that's what intuition is. You're not on the planet all alone, orbiting planet Sun, or the orbiting the sun, I should say. You have Everyone has access to intuition 24/7. The truck driver, the doctor, the nurse, everyone does, but we have to be willing to slow down our mind to hear it, to listen to it, to be present to it.
And the Claires,
And yeah, and then we have and it doesn't always show up as a voice that you hear. It shows up as sensations, knowings, visions. And those are clairs. The most common clair is the feeling, like goosebumps, gut feelings, stomach rumbling. That's the most common clair. So it's there. And even though I'm not formally teaching intuition, I'm training people to teach it for me. But I bring it into all my workshops. And when we actually start to wake up our own intuition, life really starts to take off in a really beautiful way. So,
mhm.
yeah,
Do you still get people's loved ones coming and chatting to you all the time,
all
or
the time, all the
still?
time, still.
What, I mean, I mean, how do you function? Because I'd be like, what's going on?
It's like a microscope. Like I can turn it on or off, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like when you asked me that question, I turned it on for a sec, just out of curiosity as to
yeah,
who was behind you. Does
yeah,
that make sense?
yeah.
And then I don't know if your dad's dad is on that side, but he's behind you.
And really?
Mm,
Oh, he
yeah.
is absolutely adorable.
So,
Yeah, Grandpa Norman.
okay.
So sweet. It's funny because actually, he passed away. My sister and I went to his cottage, um, and we couldn't find our keys. They were just gone. They were gone. Our car keys, when it was time to go, they were gone. We looked everywhere and they were gone, just gone. And so we're like, well, I don't know, how are we ever going to get home? And anyways, we just ended up sitting around for a couple hours because we couldn't figure out. This is before cell phones. This is years and
Right.
years
Yeah.
ago. And then I believe it was Carolee who stood up, and they were just like right under, like right beside where she was sitting. And we'd looked there. We'd looked everywhere. But we truly believed at that point that he was like, there was a reason. There was some reason. We don't know what it was, but he was protecting us from something at that time. Um, Hmm. I wonder. Anyway, he was so, and that was for me, one of the first real, like, I think I was 19 or 20, and Carolee would have been younger, but that was the first, like, physical, sort of psychic thing, even though you don't like the word psychic.
That's
Um,
fine.
uh, but thing that had happened where I really felt like, oh, there's something so much bigger at play here, where I really knew it. It was with Grandpa Norman,
Yeah.
and he had just passed on.
And he just loves playing games on you. It was his way of telling you he was still around. And he
I
was
love.
always a bit of a game player because I'm
Yeah.
asking him why he's here now. And I'll go back to answer your question in a second, because it is about fun. And this work is about fun. It's not about being serious.
I love that.
He was a
You're
jokester.
He was
And
a jokester. He was so cute. Oh my gosh, so cute and a really great
yeah,
cook.
he's calling himself a jokester. And one thing he's proud about you is that you're also a bit of a jokester. You also love laughter in your life. And maybe that's also for the listeners, because I think we've gotten so serious with computers, like everything's so serious. Oh my God. But there's something else that came. Oh yeah. You asked me the question about like, how do I do it?
Yeah.
Is I'm really good at zooming out. So it's not like I tell your guys to shut up. I don't. But if let's just say I'm working with somebody or working in a class and I'm teaching something, and then let's say the client gets up and says, this happened 2 weeks ago, I was teaching in Shawnigan Lake. A woman got up and said, every man I've been with has cheated on me. I'm like, great. let's dissect this. And she was just like, I'm a victim, a victim. She's now married to somebody else. She has a kid with him, but she's waiting for him to cheat on her. Like, or you know what I mean? I don't know if I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
that
yeah,
right. Anyways.
yeah.
And so she's constantly analyzing him. She's got a wall up to him. Like he has his own shit. So I'm not denying that. Anyways, so because they were both in this workshop, they wanted some help because their relationship is new, but you know, there's a wall up because of her story. And I'll leave him alone because he had an equal 50-50. Anyway, so I got her up and I showed her that she had really deep unconscious things. And what came in was, I think it was her grandmother on her dad's side as well, but I can't remember. But I saw this woman around her and I said, hey, this, and she goes, oh yeah, she hated herself. And I said, so do you? And can you see you've inherited that? She goes, oh yeah, since I was 5, I thought I was fat. She was like size 2. And so, you know, can you see now that you've manifested these men, for lack of a better word, who cheated on you because you've always thought you were less than. She didn't want to hear that. But when she finally got it, it was like a clicker. It's like
Yeah.
boom. And so these grandmothers will often show up, or grandparents will show up because their wounding is in us. And it's because of their shit that they didn't deal with as to why we keep repeating these patterns.
Right.
So they come in and I'll only zoom it. I zoom in if not if, well, if the divine mother tells me to, but if it's going to be a benefit for this client. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So yeah.
totally.
And so the
Totally.
zoomed in then goes, oh my God, I can see how I'm so much like Grandma Joe. And oh my God, you know, blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
So, and it is interesting, and I know this is like opening up the biggest can. It's like that ancestral
Yeah.
wounding and the healing that we have to do. And this came to me like a while back, you know, because I feel like everybody has ancestral wounds. Every single person in the world doesn't even matter what
Totally.
they are. Because like there was like I
Totally.
needed to know. I wanted to figure out what was it exactly that, you know, had hurt my ancestors. But honestly, when all of us know, like I think like every single one of us as human beings knows that at some point our ancestors were abused or hurt in some way. So it doesn't even matter what it was. Just to know that we're all right to offer forgiveness and love again, even to the perpetrators of whatever hurts were perpetrated. And, you know, I have the interesting story of having um, found out that my great great grandparents were like the first free black slaves to settle in Minnesota. And it was incredible. I went back and did a little journey and did a little documentary with one of my cousins that I found through ancestry.ca. But the biggest issue for me was to have to understand that if that you know I had so much empathy and compassion for my grandparents who were the freed slaves, but I hated my other ancestors who were the slave owners. Like hated. And I mean that took work to really like say okay, well, you know, that isn't helping. That's not helping me. That's not helping them. It's not helping anything. It's like I really have to resolve that conflict within myself to understand that they didn't know better at that time. It doesn't make it right, but they didn't know better. And I have to forgive them. I have to. Or else I'm just going to be carrying around this ancestral trauma that's going to affect everybody, my kids included.
Your kids and your grandkids. And I'll add one piece to
Everybody.
that. And I hope this helps you or
Yeah.
anyone listening. Um, at the core of all the wounds is an unworthiness wound. So I'm going to speak to your ancestors and I'll speak to something else because they were showing me pictures you were talking and they might have been connected. So I'll tell you the picture I saw as you were talking about the slaves. I saw a picture of like, yeah, everybody's ancestors had an unworthiness wound. Even the rich ones is what I saw.
Yes.
And so like, imagine this was the slave owners because a lot of people are very wealthy and I worked with tons of them, 7, 8 figure income. They grapple at their money because they're trying to they think the money heals their unworthiness, which it doesn't.
No.
Never does.
No.
So the people who were the slave owners, they thought we're better because we have them, and it never healed it either for them.
No. And they probably even had some guilt that they weren't, you know,
You nailed
really.
it.
Yeah.
And it's not up to us to keep that karmic. They're already dealing with their own karmic energetic imprint.
Hmm.
But really, it's for you to see that they had that same unworthiness wound that you see the slaves had, but that was the match.
So interesting, isn't it? And
Crazy.
the and it's like all about acceptance. And so going back to our Ho'oponopono, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me and thank you.
That's
Yeah.
all it was about too.
Yeah. Well, that was good.
So good.
Thanks, Divi.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
I feel
Thank
like
you.
it's been like, I mean, I don't want to, again, I don't want to keep it because but it's been an hour and oh, it's exactly an hour. Can you
So
believe
great.
it? And how do people get to you? I mean, I know how they do it, but it's really much more fun if you tell them. Divi, how do people find you?
Go to my website. It's drdivi.com. You'll see my current offerings. As of right now, I still do introductions. So you can hop on a call with me for 20 minutes and I can share with you what I get and do an intuitive break. And then we talk about how we can work together. So yeah, just come to my website, come to a session I'm doing in town. You'll find me.
And in town is Vancouver. And
Yeah.
Divi, you can also follow at on
Oh,
Instagram
yeah.
too,
I'm
where
on
you can find
Instagram.
like, and then she's showing you all the different things that she's up to. She's got lots of retreats, lots of really great things all the time. I'm gonna come to one of your retreats.
We
You'll
should come
see.
to a retreat at your place. That would be
Yes,
fun.
let's do a retreat here.
The people who had taught in Shawinigan Lake, they invited me to their house to do a retreat if I bring people. So I could do that too.
Okay, okay. I love that. Okay,
Yeah, no,
it sounds good.
it's so
And
fun.
this place is good. It's perfect. And I think, and we'd swim with the seals.
Oh my God. I'm there in a heartbeat.
Oh, I love you. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time and your energy and your wisdom
Thank you.
and the Divine Mother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're
Thank you,
beautiful.
Tamara.
Mwah. Love you.
Love you too.